Hi, I'm Jennifer James, and I will be speaking about the speech from Robert F. Kennedy regarding the death of Martin Luther King. On April 4, 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy delivered his speech to a large crowd of African Americans to inform them of the death of Martin Luther King. I'm going to talk to you about the public speaking skills that Robert F. Kennedy had, as well as the audience's response to his speech and my own response. Robert F. Kennedy's speech became rhetoric because of his bravery as a white man to encompass himself among a large crowd of African American people to deliver his heartfelt message regarding the death of Martin Luther King. According to Azam's YouTube video and article, The Greatest Speech Ever, Robert F. Kennedy was supposed to give an unplanned speech, or a planned speech, for upcoming ballots. Despite the advisement by the police because of the fear for riots that might outbreak after the speech, Robert F. Kennedy still delivered his speech in the back of a flatbed pickup truck. His speech was unrehearsed, and his notes were written on the car ride over. He urged the people to follow King's mindset and exchange violence with peace, love, and understanding. He stated that the majority of people, blacks and whites, want to live in peace and love. He was sincere in his message, continuing to look out into the crowd as he delivered his speech. According to an article at the History Place, in the end, the people of Indianapolis, Indiana, remained calm, whereas every other major city in the U.S. had riots. Robert F. Kennedy's speaking skills were excellent. He maintained eye contact and looked directly at the crowd the entire time. He connected personally to the audience by talking about how he had a member of his family also killed by a white man. He used a poem to give the audience hope. In Tyrrell's article, Public Speaking Techniques Used at the Front Line, it states that connecting to the audience is a very important public speaking skill. Using the poem that he spoke about, he said it was his favorite poem, and it read, "Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls upon, drop by drop, upon the heart, until in one's own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God." The audience's response to his speech, as viewed on Azam's YouTube video, was initially shock, sadness, crying, and screams, followed by silence and attention to Robert F. Kennedy. Shouts from the audience saying "Amen" and "Yes" portrayed they agreed with Robert F. Kennedy. At the end of his speech, clapping and applause and cheering could be heard from the crowd. This speech affected me deeply. It gave me a respect for Robert F. Kennedy as a person for standing up and delivering this speech, sadness for the lack of acceptance that others have for people of a different race, and hope for humanity of the peace because of the peace that ensued during and after Robert F. Kennedy's speech. In giving a speech, I would hope that I could have direct eye contact with my audience and not have to look at my notes like Robert F. Kennedy did. In conclusion, I must say this. On a day that saddened much of the nation, a day that changed the world, Robert F. Kennedy did not do what was safe, nor did he do what was easy. But instead, he exposed himself bare in front of a large crowd of African Americans that were excited at the appearance of a Kennedy. The audience did not know what they were about to be told. Although Robert F. Kennedy knew he could be faced with riots and harm to himself, he put his trust in the human race and delivered a speech that was sad in nature, yet portrayed a ray of hope. I am moved, I am moved and empowered by the gesture that Robert F. Kennedy gave of himself that sad day in history.